Is the thumbnail right now? Oh.
As he walks around.
I need a haircut, man. It's just like... Oh, this is
Are we live? He said yeah.
I don't care.
Oh, man. What's the deal? Hi.
Hey guys, today we're talking season 8 of Love is Blind.
Yeah, back to the pods, baby.
The
this
pods
whole first
are
6 friggin'
open.
episodes is all the damn
It's
pods.
too much pods.
Yeah, there's way too much pods this time. Like, holy crap, man.
Trying to get situated here.
Yeah.
Probably hope you already
Yeah,
done
it's
that,
too
man.
much pods. I mean, from what previous watchers have told us that like they just fast forward through the pods. So it's like
Yeah, a lot of
they're
people
not
do.
even getting into the show until next week because
Yeah.
this is all pods.
Well, and it's crazy, too, because there's only 13 episodes, and freaking half the damn episodes are pods. So, it's nuts.
It's where all the connections are made, Billy.
Yeah, we'll find that out. Josh, you got your Kirk Cousins, baby.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins
Representing Minnesota.
representing Minnesota, don't you know?
Don't you
Right.
know?
All right, so what do we think about this cast?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, too, right? In the beginning, it says this is the biggest cast ever, but then you don't really see that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't seem like it's much bigger than
I
any
feel
other
like we
cast,
saw
you know?
less people.
So, yeah, it seemed like it, right? So I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really seems changed on the back end of it. It's Love is Blind. We're in the pods. They're doing the same thing as usual. You know, we
Right,
got the
exactly.
same hosts, same format. I guess
They
there's
didn't
more
talk
people.
much at this point. Like every season, they kind of cut back just a little bit.
Yeah,
the hosts
you see
talking.
Nick and Vanessa like at the very beginning, and that's it, right?
They're like, "Yo, we're here. It's our show. Go talk."
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, I think it's good.
based on what most people have
Right.
said over the years,
Since people want
yes.
like Nick and Vanessa out anyway, so
So yeah, more people, but honestly, they're still kind of zeroing in on the people that are gonna pair up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. There's a lot of people in the background you never even get to hear from,
yeah.
as usual. There's even a person, Amanda, that's she's 42 while this is going on, 43 now. So she's kind of on the older side. We don't
yeah,
get to
notice
see
that.
anything of her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't see anything of her.
Yeah, I was looking at because I was considering watching this season blind, like I did last
Before, yeah,
season.
right.
Was it DC? I think that I watched blind.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the time to like really put it together because you really have to pay attention when you're doing that and take notes. Otherwise, you have no idea who's talking because you don't recognize their faces. You just
Yeah.
know their voices.
Well, yeah, and with a lot of people in the background this season,
Yeah.
they're really going to focus on.
Yeah, so I didn't have the time to really do that this time, but I was going through trying to find their names, their occupations. There's a lot of real estate people. There was a lot of older women than men, like mid to late 30s women versus men.
So who stood out to you as far as the cast? Who's your favorites?
So like,
Well, that changed.
yeah, no, it definitely changed because like I was digging Madison at first, and then she became like 2 totally different people depending on what scenario she was in. That was weird. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I ain't digging her. so
I
much
actually
anymore.
like Madison.
Really.
So through the 6 episodes, it was almost like watching one of these, like a season-long show where, like, at the end, you're like, oh, my God, that's the villain. Like, because
Right,
I was,
right.
like, really pro-Madison until, like, that last episode. And then I
Yeah,
was like, oh, my gosh, she's the bad guy.
Like,
Madison's the bad guy?
Oh, yeah.
Like she was literally 2 different people.
Yeah.
Like she was one person with Alex and another person with freaking Mason, and I was like, damn. You know, and then she was like very cold and calculated with Mason, but very like just sweet and innocent with freaking Alex and shit. And I was like, this is just crazy, man.
I don't know if
manipulative.
Madison is
So-
the bad guy.
Yes.
here.
I think
She definitely wasn't a good guy. I tell you that.
I think you'll see that people will think that she's the villain. of the
Did
season.
anyone remind you of anybody?
Yes.
Who we got?
Yeah, we had a
What celebrity impersonators do we got on the show?
JD Vance.
yeah, yeah, Dave.
Dave looks like JD Vance.
Dave is JD
Yeah.
Vance.
Yeah, if Vance needs
We
a
had-
body double,
We had Devon as Keegan
Dave's
Michael
the guy.
Key, right? So,
Yeah.
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 And then you were thinking,
And I thought,
I was thinking Molly might be Daphne from Scooby Doo. She's got the red hair. you
yeah,
know?
maybe. I kind of was it, but and then we had, and for me, like you guys said, y'all didn't see it, but like freaking Joey, man, his voice so much reminded me of like Chris from Family Guy, like his that whitey voice, you know, that he had. I was like,
I
dude-
couldn't
dude
figure
sounds
out who
like-
he was
Dude
reminding
sounds
me
like
of.
Chris from Family Guy.
I thought we had Pam Beasley. Sarah kind of reminded me of Pam Beasley. Not so much the exact look, but like the mannerisms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyone else stand out to you? Any guys?
yeah, I really liked Alex.
Yeah, Alex is cool. I like that kid.
I really liked Alex. And then I thought maybe Alex was the bad guy. And that was just Madison.
That's weird because
that was Madison's manipulation of me. And I'm back to liking Alex.
There were times where I was kind of like, Alex, what are you doing? But then at the end of the day, like, once everything's said and done, it's like, bro, you made the right choice.
I think he was seeing the red flags I wasn't seeing, and so that's why he was so hesitant. Because I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you like... It's like they would take 2 steps forward, and he was like, well, hold on, let's take a step back.
Yeah, because we're only seeing what Eddie's showing
doing?
us.
I'll tell you what guy I liked a lot, and I actually like this couple, is like Joey. I really like Joey. He seems like really fun guy.
Joey's cool, man.
There doesn't seem to be any negatives associated with him, really.
No, he's just like
point.
your big, goofy teddy bear kind of guy.
The guys
right?
really liked him.
Yeah, all the dudes
I mean, all the dudes got
the dudes
along.
like making fun of Joey, too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but like in good fun. Like they were
Right,
like...
exactly. They're all trying to do their best Joey impressions.
Yeah, I mean... all the guys seemed to get along and look out for each other. And, like, they were not trying to share...
there was no drama, really, with them.
Yeah, they were really trying not to share who their
they were doing a good job of it, too.
people were. So.
I like Berlian.
Yeah, that was funny.
Berlian
Alice
was
got the
awesome.
Berlian.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. Daniel, he's 5'8", which is what I would consider average.
As someone who is.
Someone who's
As a fellow
5'8".
5'8" guy. But he seems to think he's undersized.
Yeah,
and
he's got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? Insecurities about that, right? So because he constantly brings up like short king season or some shit. He was like, that's me year long. I never heard
Napoleon
that
complex or something.
Right, and I never heard that before.
As
man.
a fellow
Short king season.
5'8", do you feel like you're short?
It's average height for people. So.
All right.
Not so much, but unless I'm standing next to a giant, then yeah. I mean, but yeah, he does have some issues with that. It doesn't really come into play until he meets like his mate. But he also has a sister that's blind, which is kind of interesting because he kind of harpens back to that, like, hey, she's blind, so she navigates the world not being able to see, kind of like this experiment. So
Yeah, it was cool how he
cool.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Taylor was like digging that too. So.
And David, he's kind of a self-admitted a-hole. He has some pretty bad jokes in the beginning and seems to use that line on like everyone he encounters initially.
Yeah, 'cause he says he's into medical sales, and he's like, I'm constantly around Botox and butt lifts and facelifts and all this other crap.
Yeah.
So I expect a woman to look a certain way when I shouldn't. So at least he was open and honest about it,
Yeah,
right?
so he's very like superficial initially, but
these are my expectations. I know they shouldn't be, but they
that's what I
are.
see.
do you think that goes away later on, or do you think he is there?
He grew on me, so I thought he was going to be the villain of the season. I did at the very beginning. I was like, this guy, here he comes in with his arrogant attitude, thinking he deserms something better than he deserves.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
He does say that to quite a few people.
he
Like
does.
someone I think says they're 30, and he's just like,
What's wrong with you?
You're
so you're not
Wait,
attractive anymore, or something like that.
Right.
But as he started to grow his connections with the two people, like he came across pretty genuinely torn between the two of them, and like really torn up about it. So I really feel like those connections kind of like altered his take on things a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I like David. I mean, at first I thought he was a douchebag, and then he, like you said, he grows on you, and towards the end I liked him. I thought he was a good guy.
Then we got Meg, who's into all kinds of like weird stuff, like conspiracy
dude.
theories.
Yeah, well,
and
Mason was like eating that shit up, man. Mason's like, yeah, fucking aliens, and they built the pyramids and all this shit.
yeah, they mentioned like Bob Lazar, making forts.
Right.
She's into that. So
He was like, oh my God, I haven't made a fort in forever.
Well, then she talked all the girls into making a fort. That was kind of
Yeah.
cool, right? All the women made a fort on their side. So
her energy is a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude.
Like,
she
I
is
don't
like
know.
Gabby. I mean, she loves to talk. Has it just that come at you energy.
Yeah.
You got to be a certain kind of person to be able to handle that.
yeah, she even mentions weather control. So she's kind of interesting person to have a
Yeah.
conversation with,
no
but
doubt.
kind of like odd for dating purposes.
I could be friends with her.
Yeah, I mean, I would love
could
to
go
like
down
talk
these
to
rabbit
her,
holes.
but I'm a little weirded out if she like actually believes this kind of stuff. So I don't know.
You never know, man.
What's
You
your
never
impression
know.
of Meg?
I liked Meg. I just thought her energy was a lot. I'm like, okay, you need to just calm down a little bit.
Well, and here's what I'll say I liked about Meg too is her own personal securities and her own personal self-worth. Like, look, I know what I want. I know what I'm here for. And if I don't find it, or if that person doesn't find me as their number one, then I'm fine leaving alone, So.
When that came down to the last couple episodes there where she was like, I need to be picked. I need to be chosen. I don't want to just be chosen by default because I'm the last one left here. I kind of wanted, like, I wish somebody had kind of brought up the whole Zach and Bliss situation.
Right, yeah.
Because maybe that's still right and it is a valid feeling to have, but I mean, Zach and Bliss are one of the happiest couples.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just had a
Make it
kid,
out of this
they're
experiment.
good to
Now
go.
it started off rough, right? Because he didn't choose her.
Right.
But
That's what I'm saying. Like, she was the second choice. Like, he chose somebody else,
it
and then
worked.
when that didn't work, he was like, hey, man, come on.
Right.
I'm
I know I
wondering-
screwed up here, Bliss. Come
Yeah.
on.
I'm wondering if we'll see some couples that didn't really make it, like, have a chance at
Yeah, I
that or
don't
something
know.
like that.
I mean, the
'Cause-
previews show some shit with them all getting back together and everything,
Yeah.
right? So,
They
I don't know,
always
we'll
do.
see. I
They
know.
always do.
Yeah, and Molly and David, they're having conversations, and I guess scary movies come up, and then they talk about exorcism, and they're kind of both weirded out by
Right,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, that could
Because
be
they're
real.
like, we both went to Catholic school, so like we both kind of believe in that shit, so that's gonna be real. So they're like, yeah, that's super scary stuff.
Molly's like, yeah, no, I saw an actual one. Like, for
So
real.
They made us watch it on, they made us watch a video of an actual exorcism.
Wasn't
Yeah.
cinematic. It wasn't a movie.
Right.
Yeah, and Daniel does, I guess, fake Christmas cards. He's really into that
That's
stuff.
that's
so-
a cute idea.
That is kind of cool, you
Yeah.
know. But he's looking for his wife to do it with him, you know. So
Yeah, he would like someone to participate with him. You know, it must be kind of like lonely dressing up as Santa. You know, every
whatever,
time.
whatever
Wouldn't
else
that be
he dresses
cool
up
though
as,
to
yeah.
get that Christmas card from every year? Be like, oh, we got that card again.
Yeah, we got
huh?
Daniel's card.
Maybe that's what outs him. I don't know, as we'll see
Yeah,
later
we'll see
on.
about
But but Molly shares she's into Dave with Lauren, who's also into him, and we see like a couple triangles this season.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
really.
There's a whole square action going on at some point.
That's
in
true,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
With Madison and her two guys, and they each got two girls. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, Dave is like vying for two women. So man, he's quite the guy, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Molly and Lauren.
yeah. I mean, I think, you know, I do like the choice he made, but at the same time, I think him and Molly probably would have got along fine. But who knows?
There was something about Molly that threw me off. Like at first, I wondered if she was playing dumb, and when she revealed her guy to Lauren, you know.
Right.
But then, like after when they hashed it out later, I do think she didn't do it to be like mean girl and like
Well,
play games with her or anything like that. But there
I
was
don't think so.
something
Yeah, I don't
about
think she
her
meant to
that
be.
made me seem like maybe she wasn't being authentic.
Well, she's kind of like Meg, right? She's got that just come at you energy, right? She's very gabby and and all that. So I think her and Meg were kind of similar in that.
Yeah, and she comes off like she hasn't had any serious boyfriends, but she has like pierced nipples and stuff like that, I think. So
No, that was Madison. That had
No, I think she has pierced nipples too. She doesn't
does she?
ever say that, but
Oh, okay.
observation
she's
tells
wearing,
me
right,
she
right.
does.
right.
Wow.
Right.
You
Oh,
some
when-
observation skills there, did ya? I must have missed that.
oh man,
How did you miss that, Billy?
I know, right? I'm surprised I missed it.
But I like Molly. She seems different, but
Yeah,
she
she's
seems
energetic.
fun and innocent, and I like how she takes things even later on. But
Yeah, she comes across really great. And I don't. There's something about her that seems maybe not quite fully authentic. But I don't
I
know.
mean, I caught that vibe from her every now and then, but at the same time, I was like, overall, I think I think she is trying to be authentic overall. But there were times where I kind of felt that way about her as well.
It
but,
looks like we might be having some technical
Yeah,
issues.
right. You
but
go fix that, Josh.
Josh is going to take care of that.
But overall, like I thought no matter who he would pick in that one, it'd be okay either way for him, right? So
Yeah.
like whether it was gonna be Lauren or whether it was gonna be Molly, I thought either way it'd probably work out for him, at least in the near term anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's gonna work out in the long term with him, but in the near term, I thought it'd probably work out for Dave either way. And like I said, and I was impressed with Dave. I thought, I think he definitely grew, as the show progressed, and he definitely showed that he wasn't just into the superficial stuff, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was, like I said, at the beginning, I thought he was going to be the villain. He grew on me, and he I think he grew himself and then into those feelings, like,
yeah, definitely.
especially when you see him crying to the guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then of course he was crying with once he was in the room with with both women as well. At the last his last little visit with both of them, right?
Yeah.
But it was funny though when he was in there trying to let Molly go, because he didn't just come out and say, "Hey, look, I'm picking Lauren." He was kind of beating around the bush about it,
Yeah.
and then Molly's like, "Dude, why don't you just kind of tell me that you're here to let me go?" And he's like, "Well, I kind of think that's what I just
Right.
said." And it's like, "Nah, bro, you definitely didn't say that." But
She wanted
but
him
you
to
were
be more
but-
direct.
right? Exactly, and he should have. But it's like but he was definitely alluding to it.
yeah, and Lauren pros Dave on the other girls, and she's feeling kind of vulnerable, and she didn't like that he was also talking to Molly and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
which is like you're on this show. You've seen the first 7 seasons, I'm sure, and you know that's how it works. So
She
you
seems
shouldn't
to have
you know,
some jealousy issues.
Oh, yeah, she
pretty
definitely
early on.
does. Yeah. Lauren definitely had jealousy issues, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and it was weird that I did think that Molly was always like, yeah, I know you have this other connection. You know, I want you to explore that connection. You know, you got to be sure when you choose me or whoever it is, you got to be sure. So like explore it. There's no pressure. And he kept complimenting like how he liked that there was no pressure. And then Lauren came in there and be like, you got to decide. Like,
Yeah, and then like that.
and he was like, oh, the pressure. And you usually think that that's going to turn them the other way.
Right, exactly, but it didn't in this
What
case.
happened again? Oh, no.
Oh no, this camera.
Oh, no.
But I mean, yeah, and then of course you had, and it's funny, you know, so like from the get go, man, it's you know Joey and freaking Monica, right? Like those two just kind of seem to hit it off right off the bat, and then we see them really. I think that's really the only person that really showed either one of them talking to for the most part. And I thought poor Chandler, man, he just let old Joey stole his girl this time around. You know?
Joey and Monica.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I did like that match. I thought they worked out. And then like when they come out and see each other, it's like, damn, Monica's tall, man. It's like, holy shit, because Joey looks like he's a tall dude. And then Monica comes out, and granted she's wearing heels, but she's like almost as tall as he is. So like, man, I was like, that actually worked out for both of them. She seems like she's a pretty tall girl.
Yeah. I mean, they were both very energetic, though. Like, that whole interaction when they meet together is just energy on top of
Oh, yeah, no
energy.
doubt.
Like,
Well, and the most hilarious thing though I thought was funny is like they didn't tell each other they loved each other. So I thought that was so weird. They're like meeting and they're talking and all that, and they never said like I love you to each other, right?
Yeah.
But yet they're gonna get engaged, but they never say I love you. And granted, I think it was just like the awkward energy that they both had, to where neither one of them even thought to say it, but it was just kind of weird that neither one of them was like I love you, you know? Oh, I love you too.
I think that they're going to end up being just more friends. I don't think that that's really going to work out in a romantic relationship. I think they're going to end up friends. She had, like, I think he even asked, like, can I kiss you? And then that was, like, kind of an awkward kiss.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think usually those first kisses are pretty awkward to begin with, but...
Yeah, but I mean...
We're switching cameras, guys, so just
so
so you
Josh
know.
is like trying to work all this. But like, you know, and even if they stay friends, that's cool because they're both good people, right? I thought Monica was a really cool chick, you know, very, you know, just open and honest, good person. And Joey's the same way. So it's like, you know, even if they only stay friends, you know, good for them because they're both really good people, I think. And then, you know, Joey seemed like he was just really good, like,
Can't see what's happening.
you know, really good, like, proponent of all the guys, right? He was always there trying to talk to him, talk him up and stuff, you know. So I thought that was cool that he was always doing that.
Yeah, and I guess I think it's Sarah. She's into, or Lauren. She's into Cat Stevens, and that's kind of weird for me because Cat Stevens is associated with like some terrorism kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about that though is like Dave was like, yeah, you and my sister are probably get along because I don't know who the hell that is. But
She's got to know.
Yeah, and then there's someone. Who is it? She has Taco Bell. Lip
that's
tattoo?
Madison.
Yeah,
Madison got that
Madison.
Taco Bell. That's the only
No.
tattoo.
No,
she
it's not
has.
Madison.
No, it's Taylor.
Or Taylor. That's right. It's Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, no,
Taylor.
you're right.
Yep.
But it only says Taco B now, right? She's like, I don't know if you know about lip tattoos.
She can
but they
start
fade
her
quickly.
own taco chain called Taco B.
That's right. But yeah, and Taylor, like, I like Taylor. I think she's cool. There was something that just kind of seemed off about me for a while about her, and I don't know what it was. I couldn't place it, but I mean, I thought overall she was pretty cool. You know, I liked her. I thought she was a cool person. And Daniel, you know, I think he was a good guy. I don't know. Their interactions to me sometimes were weird, but then at the same, you know, and then I don't know what happened to her, why she lost her voice for a while. Like there was a little bit of time where she lost her voice, couldn't talk.
Yeah, I don't
very well.
know.
But I mean, overall, I thought they were a good couple together. But as we find out, maybe not so much because maybe Daniel stalked her a little bit beforehand. So,
Yeah, who knows what's going on with that? Obviously, it kind of ends on that, and we don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because he denies it, but
He's like,
seems
I
a little
don't
odd.
have a drink in
my hand. You're like,
in
yeah,
my
I got
photo.
pictures. Yeah, and you could tell that dude. He probably did freaking try to friend her on
think
freaking
so?
Instagram. I think so. I think he did. Yeah,
I don't know, but like,
I think he probably did.
What I don't get is like he's like, what's with the accusations? Do you not want to be with me? He never says anything like that either. He just kind of lets it play out.
so
Right.
what's the real crime here? If like, what is
Well-
her hang up? The fact that like, if that really happened, is it the fact that he went through the experiment knowing what she looked like the whole
No,
time.
not just that, but also knowing what she likes. Because she's like, everything I like is on my Instagram. So he looked and he saw I liked Taco Bell. He saw I loved Christmas. He saw I was a family-oriented person. So
But if he's doing postcards and she shows that,
Right.
I mean, I really think she's just kind of saying like she was robbed of the experience.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Or
and-
is she concerned that he's like a true blown stalker?
Probably,
Yeah.
probably a
Like
little bit of
that's
everything.
like
Yeah.
those are the two
Or
scenarios.
is
that
she
I'm
just
finding out.
not happy with them and trying to find a way off the show?
Because she did say the height thing was a little awkward for her. She made it sound like it wasn't that bad, but I think in deep down it probably was an issue for her.
I didn't think
So-
it was that bad. Like she came out in heels, she matched his height. Like
Yeah, I
don't think it was
But why would
absurd.
she mention it after the fact?
right, exactly.
well, 'cause I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And it seems like by editing, they threw him saying that in the beginning. They could have edited that out. They obviously knew
Exactly.
the height thing may have come back.
and, he mentions it,
seems
several
intentional
times.
on the
That dude
show.
mentions it so many damn times, you know. And then it's funny because then she even mentioned before they met. Well, the only thing that could maybe be off is if I'm taller than him, and that would be weird. But I could take off my heels. So when she said that,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, and then you know, we got Mason who's vying for two kind of people, and
Yeah.
then he's really into the movie. Her
this
Meg
dude-
brings it up, and he like flips
He's like,
out.
oh my
Yeah.
god, like I love that movie. That's my favorite movie ever. Like holy cow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just. I mean, Mason's cool. I like the guy, and I think he got did dirty by Madison. I really do. I think Madison did him really dirty.
Mason gave me like I was a little hesitant when because I was on Team Madison at first and I liked her with Alex and then
Mm-hmm.
came across Mason. And I was like, hold on, like don't be stepping on Alex over here. And then he had that connection with Meg, and I was like, oh, that's good because I started to like Mason. So I was like, you can go with Meg and she can
Right.
go with Alex, and everybody can be happy.
Yeah, and
But then I don't know, there was something about Mason that kind of made me feel off about him. But then I really do think he was being genuine.
I think he
with
was.
both.
I think Mason was a genuine dude, and Alex even saw that, right?
Yeah.
You know, Alex said, "Look, Mason, I think is a genuine guy. Like, we,
Yeah,
That
but
bites him later.
I feel like Madison brings up good points though, because you know, he is indecisive and he is
So is she.
not making a decision. Well, she eventually does make a decision.
Right.
And then
Eventually.
like he does bring out the food for Madison, and then he kind of like downplays like, hey, I told you something I shouldn't have told you, it didn't even feel right. Then what's with the food and all this other kind of
Right,
stuff? It
exactly.
seems
No.
like you're trying to
Yeah.
to win her over
That was
still.
definitely wrong, but at the same time, the way she did him, and just she kind of did him dirty. She talked, kind of bad to him, and then she was talking bad about him to Meg. And it was like, come on, man, you don't got to do that, right? And that's
I didn't
even-
like how she was talking bad about him after the fact, but I don't think there was any. I mean, he even commits to her at one point, but she'd
Yeah.
already chosen
Alex.
Alex. So
What's funny?
Too little, too late, I
So
guess.
Like I
what's
said-
funny? Both of them. So he commits to her and says like you're my number one or whatever, and there's no one but you. Like I want to focus
Mm-hmm.
on you. Basically, I don't know exactly what he said verbatim, but then he goes into the other date, and I'm waiting for the breaking it off, and he
Right,
and he
doesn't have it,
doesn't.
yeah.
So I was like. So that was wrong on his part, but at the same point in time, she had already made her decision, and she just never told him that.
right. That's true because she had. at that
held
point.
off on.
yeah,
it.
and they never told him like, hey, it's off. So
Yeah.
he's still thinking he has a chance,
Right.
even though when I
Right.
guess he really
And
doesn't.
like I
I
said,
think she had 2 dates after she became
Yeah.
boyfriend girlfriend with Alex.
And like I said, she was like two completely different people. She was like completely one person with Alice, completely another person with Mason, and I was like, that's just weird, man. That is very weird.
Yeah.
And like, I could see, after seeing all that, and there was a lot of stuff we didn't get to see because of editing, but I'm sure there was a lot of why Alex made the decision he did, and he was like, nah, I don't think this is right now. Because I'm sure Alex was seeing a lot of the stuff that was going on with her, and he just wasn't feeling it, right? So.
Yeah, and there's kind of another triangle going on with Devon, right? Because like Brittany and
Brittany, yeah, Brittany, I love
Virginia
that.
are going for him, and Britt is like the strong leader early on. They're both into basketball.
Yeah.
He teaches like youth female basketball. She played Division I.
Yeah.
So
Hi, Chocolate Sooner.
Yeah. Yo, what's
Yeah.
up?
there you go.
And then we had then of course, Virginia was a former basketball cheerleader, right? So
Dancer, yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, but she thought it was too much basketball for her.
right.
Yeah, Virginia's like, that's too much basketball for a house or whatever.
I like
says,
Devon a
so.
lot, man. I thought Devon was, a straight up good dude. I liked him. He was a very wholesome guy, right? Family oriented, God oriented, and just likes to give back to the community, give back to the kids. And I thought that was all great. And and I thought Britt was awesome. Britt was cool as hell. She was kind of similar to
Yeah.
him in a lot of that stuff. Virginia I thought was a sweetheart. At first I wasn't too sure about Virginia, but then she grew on me, and Virginia's beautiful. And she grew on me, so I was like, man, this is gonna be a hard decision for him. But then, of course, once Britt got into the whole bisexuality thing and all that, it just kind of turned
really
him off,
threw him
and he
off.
just.
I thought that was weird because he tells a story about how he was addicted to like painkillers or something like that, and she's very accepting of that.
Motrin.
And
Motrin,
yeah,
I mean.
yeah. Well,
Causes
but
a whole
she's
other
very
sleep
accepting
problems.
of that. Doesn't judge him, and then she tells her story about like being, I guess, bisexual, and
Right.
then he's like, "Oh, that's a lot you just laid on me." Like he doesn't kind of make her feel warm and fuzzy. He's just like, I'm still processing this.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the processing. I think he processed it in that moment. He was processing on how to react to it. I think he knew exactly how he felt about it in the moment. He was trying to process his reaction.
Yeah, I think
He tried to say like, "Hey, I'm not gonna like judge you for that," but he kind of is.
Well, he's not that he's judging her. It's just like he's just like, that's not for me. Like that's not what I'm about, and I'm just not, that's not my thing, right? So
I also think he was looking for some kind of reassurance when he kept asking, so is that like a phase? Are you still attracted to women? And she's like, oh, I'm just attracted to people, and in his mind he's like, well, now I don't just have to worry about the dudes. I got to worry about the women. Like anyone who talks to you is a threat at this point.
No doubt, shocking suitor. He's definitely a very mature dude for sure.
Yeah, what I did like about these two, though, even though it didn't really work out because of that, they handled it like adults, right?
Yeah.
So
and they were like, hey, we can still be friends and all that. So, yeah, I think Brittany is awesome. Devon's awesome. And like I said, Virginia's cool. I like Virginia, and we'll see how that works. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we'll find out.
Something about Virginia gives me like she's not being authentic either. I
didn't get
thought Britt was a lot more authentic.
yeah, I mean,
I feel like I get the vibe from Virginia that she just wanted to be chosen.
I
she
thought
just wanted
because
to
of basketball
go
and
through
all
with
other
it.
stuff, they were a better couple, but that bisexual thing or
that was
whatever
just
just
a no
really
for
threw
him.
him for a loop.
Yeah.
So
Well, there are some deal breakers for some people.
Right.
And
That's true.
Like, there's another relationship that we're going to get to that I think there's a deal breaker there, but they haven't recognized it yet.
Oh, yeah.
well, and this is kind. I mean, for one, like. There's 6 episodes, and normally they're on the honeymoons at some point.
this
This
was
is
a
six
long
six
time in the
episodes
pods,
of
man.
the pod. So, and the first couple kind of comes out of nowhere. Like Joey and Monica hook up
episode
really
1, man.
quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
So I was like, wow, that kind of happened like on an accelerated time frame. But Joey proposes to Monica. Monica, what do we think about these two?
Like I said, I like Joey and Monica. They're both great people. And she's tall, man. Like whenever she came out, because Joey looks like he's a tall dude, and Monica was like right up there with him. I was like, damn, she's tall. But I like them both. I think they're both good people. I just don't necessarily know if the relationship's going to work, right?
Why not?
I think like Ashley was saying earlier, I think eventually it's going to just be more like a friendship kind of thing.
Well, I don't know if they actually had enough time in the pods to explore a lot of things because they got engaged so early. And Joey's a fun guy, and I really like their walkout when they first meet. Like they both seem very excited, and it just went great.
Yeah.
So
I think that like this is just how they show it. If I'm not mistaken, they all get engaged on the same day.
really.
I think so. Now, they may have
I don't know.
chosen each other early on and decided not to go on dates with other people and just focused on each other, but I'm pretty sure they do that on the same
Well, I mean,
day.
it
But I
would
could be
kind of
wrong.
make sense that through editing they would sprinkle this in because like you want something early on to say, hey, these
Yeah.
two are
You want to see
connected,
a couple
so
get
let's
together.
let's move on to another couple or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Like-
maybe.
Like I said, Joey's voice is killing me, man. Because he totally to me sounded like Chris from freaking Family Guy. So every time that guy was talking, all I could see was Chris.
Yeah, and then this is when Alex gets the.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
This is where Alex gets the bear alien or whatever, bear alien.
bear alien. That's
and,
right.
I felt bad for Mason at this point because
'cause
like
he
they
didn't
are
get a bear
still
alien.
working, but she gives him the bear, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of telling.
Because here's the thing, like the Madison with Mason is like the sultry sexual vixen, right? Like but with Alex, she's like the innocent, sweet, nice, girl who very emotional girl, right? So she was like two completely different people with him. So it didn't surprise me that Alex got the Barrelian and that Mason didn't, because she might have ever told Mason about the Barrelian.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm not sure.
I think she was more flirty with Mason, but I think she had a more
big time.
genuine connection with Alex. But with Mason, she knew she had him and she wanted him to choose her.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that
I
he
don't
was,
think she ever actually intended to choose Mason.
well,
at all.
and the fact that he kept kind of pushing her away, like, look, I don't know about this. Like, I don't like the fact that you're an avoidant and
that
that you
was
run for
Alex.
problems. Or Alex, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was making Madison kind of, I think, want Alex a little more too, right? Like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, well, I got to work harder to get this guy to want me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe I'll tell him I don't want him. I don't know.
Yeah, so let's talk about Sarah and Ben.
Dude.
And this is kind of interesting because
These
Ben's
Sarah.
all in on Sarah, and then Sarah presses him on some like political and social topics,
Right.
and he's not really prepared
Nah.
to answer
Well,
that.
he just seems like he's like, yeah, I've never really
He's
kept
like, I
up
just
with
don't.
that.
He's like, I just don't follow politics. And guess what, man? You're probably a lot more sane and have a lot less stress than everybody else who does
True.
follow politics, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, but she's like pissed off about it. Like, oh, well, if you're not following these social things and this and that, then you're just wrong. And I don't know if you're the person for me. And it's like, what? It's like it's kind of hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't even get it, man. Like, everybody's got their own opinions about things. Some people just don't want to follow politics and whatever.
So it sounded to me in that conversation that she wants him to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe the question is what's going to happen. Like, let's say he educates himself on these topics, and then he comes back and he's like, "Girl, you wrong. Like, I'm on this side
That's
of it."
probably
Like,
not going to go well.
yeah,
but,
like I think she
no.
does want someone to be on the same page as her.
Oh, she totally does.
He's just not even
No
in the
doubt.
book.
Like, here's the thing: if he's not like a beta dude who's willing to just be a yes ma'am, I'm gonna do what you say and do this and that, then that relationship's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Because she is totally like, if you don't agree with me here and my beliefs and my politics and this and that, then it ain't gonna work.
And I think
Well,
we might
so-
see that.
That's
Yeah.
the vibe she's getting off. And
Yeah.
the thing that bothered me about this is he's all in on her. And why does like those issues trump how he feels about her?
Right.
That's
But for her, they
what
do.
kind of bothers
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
And I get like if you're not compatible with people on certain topics, then maybe it's not good. But he doesn't even have a strong opinion on
No,
these
exactly.
topics,
It ain't like he's
so-
against what
Yeah.
she's saying. He's like, look, I just don't really follow it. I don't follow
Yeah,
politics.
I can see how it's a big turnoff if it's the polar opposite of how you feel.
Right.
But to just not be opinion, like maybe if he said like, I don't really ever intend to get involved. He's like, but like more power to you. Like I'll support you and what you want to do, but I'm not gonna insert my opinion on it.
Right. But
If
she's like,
okay
no,
with that,
I want you to have
But
an
he didn't
opinion.
really say that either, so I don't know.
Well, she flat out was like, I don't like that you don't have an opinion. I think you should have an opinion on this. And it's like,
My
okay.
opinion is
Obviously-
you should have an opinion.
Right, yeah.
And obviously she feels different because I guess she has a sibling that is an LGBTQ
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's influenced her quite a bit. So.
Right.
But luckily she kind of comes to her senses, and like the next time they meet, they kind of like put that past them a little bit.
Well,
and-
only because he has agreed to be like, yeah, I'm more than willing to learn your politics and
He's
what you want me to be. I'm more than willing to be the guy you want me to be, right? So that's why.
Yeah, he says, I think he's trainable or he can learn. I'm
Right,
like,
right,
well,
exactly.
I don't. And she does kind of question that for her, but she's like, I don't know if that's how it should go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those issues still kind of linger. They don't really get to the bottom of it, but they do move on, which
Yeah.
is kind of good. Is it going to come back to bite them?
It's
I
totally-
don't
Did
know.
I
Did
think
they
it
have
will.
like a religious talk too? Like I
He
can't
says
remember.
he's
Some-
religious, I think, and goes to church.
Yeah, but I think he did. Yeah, I mean, several
She
couples actually have
struggles
this.
with it, I guess, because she has the sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
Yep.
how the church can sometimes treat
Yep.
that. So
Exactly.
Well, regardless, they get engaged, so welcome to the calls, I guess. You know? So we'll see how this one goes. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Ben and Sarah seem unequally yoked. That's a really good quote right there. I like
Yeah,
it.
but I don't even know where he stands on certain things, and he
Right.
hasn't expressed
Yeah.
them. He's just kind of neutral at this
No,
point.
he's like, yeah, I'll just agree to whatever you want.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever you want me to be, I'll learn that. Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, it's totally gonna be a problem.
And we learn Mason and Madison are both into cream pies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, and,
Yeah.
and here's the thing too. Here's where Madison is kind of leading Mason on and talking all this sexual stuff with him, and talking cream pies with him and all this crap, and being sultry and stuff with him, and then and then all of a sudden she just flips the script on him, and of course it kind of takes him by surprise, and yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, she was just it was just strange watching her with both different dudes and how much of a different person she was with each one of them.
Hey Janelle, how you doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
these
they
first
definitely dragged.
it was
Hell
too
yeah,
much
they did.
pot action. I think. I
So
think
much
if they
pot.
moved
Way too
on
much
to
pot
the
action.
honeymoons or whatever you want to call that
Yeah.
phase, it would have been a little bit better.
I
But
felt
they
like-
No doubt.
they dragged it out a little bit.
I felt like we were in those pods,
Right, yeah.
but just not making the connections.
Right.
Like, can we get out of the pods?
Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, I don't typically fall asleep watching this stuff, and I was falling asleep.
But I think Madison's issue is like she wants someone to commit to her, and both these guys are waffling a little bit. So it's kind of like the first to commit to me, kind of
Yeah, but here's
gets me.
Yeah, but then here's the thing. She's given Mason shit for not wanting to commit to her and stuff, and like, oh, you're playing two girls at the same time. And it's like, dude, you're doing the same thing with two guys. So what the hell are you talking about? She was like hammering him for that.
Well,
it's like
I
you're doing the
don't think
exact same damn thing. So
to be fair, I don't think she really hammered him about that until until that comment that he made.
Right, he said I probably should have made that comment, right?
Yeah.
But either way, you can't hammer somebody for doing something the exact same thing you're doing. Right, like you're
I
dragging.
don't know if she's
you've got
really
two
that
dudes along
harsh.
right now.
I
so.
think she.
I thought she was
She
kinda
said
harsh.
she was actually okay with him dating other people. It's just the lying and the deception.
Her words said one thing, but
Right.
then
But her actions and what she did later, and the way she goes back and talks to Meg about it all and everything
Yeah.
is something completely different.
No, this last episode.
Yeah, that was bad.
I
It
don't
was a
know.
whole different. There was like the way she was with Mason, the way she was with Alex,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's this whole manipulative person that was
Right,
like,
exactly.
she's been doing this to all of us
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
whole time.
She was very cold and calculated, man, at certain times.
I don't
But
know.
I will
you guys
tell
are
you.
crazy.
No,
I will
hell
tell
no.
you, her voice. I loved her voice. It was very
Yeah.
soothing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Madison. Don't get me wrong. I like her look, her voice, everything, but
like
like
everything about her except for
the way
her
she acted. On it.
personality.
Yeah, and she totally
Trauma dumped.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But she
Exactly.
commits to Alex, and then they walk around the couch each together. Like I was getting dizzy.
I
Just
know.
they walk around like 100 times.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is
Which I
going on
thought
here?
was cute. I was like, they're both like they're matching each other's energy and everything. But about the trauma dumping, like this is the 8th season of the show, and I feel like the first 2, maybe 3 seasons, like we're trying to figure out how this all works. But then, everybody starts talking about it. We have our show that we talk about. Everybody talks about it. You got psychologists like coming in here, like relationship experts and everything. And people talk about this trauma dumping because it happens every season.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially like last season with the DC and the sister. He was trying to. The one guy whose sister had died, and he wanted to bring in his wife to be like his parents' new daughter. You know what I mean? Like it's almost very manipulative, like to get them on that emotional level.
Yeah.
I don't think we have like a person like Shake or anything that bad
No,
so
hell
far.
Yeah, there's
no one's
shit,
revealed
there-
themselves
There ain't no
as
shit
that
this
bad.
season
No.
I've seen. Yeah, no, definitely not.
No, but as far as the trauma dumping goes, like it did seem very early on for her to say all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But again, with editing and everything, we don't really know how far along.
this
it was,
is kind of
right?
interesting too because these two become boyfriend girlfriend before they become engaged, which is a little weird for the pod section, and they're not engaged, they're just committed, I guess, at this
Right.
And
point.
the most excitement when you're watching, again, it could be editing, but when they go back to their like lounges with the men and women lounges, like the girls even hear like the
guys
guys
get loud,
made me
yeah.
excited. That was not even an engagement. That was just like, I got a girlfriend, I got a boyfriend. Like
Right,
everybody
right.
was so excited for them to like actually make something official. But yet
Yeah.
she didn't tell Mason.
Uh-huh.
I think for like
Right.
2 days.
No, she didn't. Yeah, exactly. And of
And
course,
then
the guys.
he wasn't telling. Yeah, the
no,
guys
the
aren't
guys
sharing.
weren't talking about it and weren't sharing, which is the right thing to do, I think. Right?
And Madison
So-
did tell Alex who the other guy was, but he doesn't reveal
Yeah.
that to him because he probably thinks that's not his place.
Right.
And
exactly.
as we see with Alex, he's an empath, so he's like, oh, I feel for this guy, and then
Yeah.
he's like going through it, and it's like he's trying to guide him through it, and yeah.
But
it's tough.
then Mason talks to Meg and he says, and she's like, "What do you think like love is?" He's like, "Love is letting your partner get the best bite
I
of
ice cream.
love that.
that was cool.
I love
Because then
that.
Meg went into hers and he's like, "Wow, that's beautiful." And she's like, "No, I think yours is better."
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
He should have brought that up later on. Maybe
Yeah.
that would have helped him.
Right.
I don't think he was fighting near the end there.
Yeah,
But,
no, I don't think. Yeah, I think he could have totally fought more at the end and maybe gotten her to stick around. But yeah, he definitely didn't fight hard enough at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
and then of course that last pod visit with Madison and Alex, man. At that point, I was like, bro, good job, you made the right decision. Like, just from everything
That
we saw.
dragged out and was awkward because I was like, is he? She seems to be needing reassurance again. It was like this moment, like watching a climactic moment in a movie, and you're like, oh, that's what's happening. Because I was really like, Alex, like give her the reassurance. Like she's chosen you. Like choose her, And then when she kept like harping on it, because he kept saying, I get it, and I get your perspective, but I get his perspective too. And then she just was not gonna let it go.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now this seems a little more manipulative on her part than his part.
I think you're talking about Ben there, didn't he? Was the one that was kind of like didn't have opinion on it.
Yeah, because Ben just like flat out said, look, I don't follow politics, I don't follow any of that crap, so I don't really have an opinion on it.
Even though I'm like, I don't feel like, I mean, that story was like national news for a long time. So how do you not know about that or
and they're from Minnesota.
Yeah. But we do find out some of these people weren't born and raised in Minnesota, so maybe he came to Minnesota after.
Maybe.
You know, who knows, right? So.
And some of these guys are young. I mean, that wasn't that long ago still, but
it was 2020 I think they have or something. So,
I still think they're rebuilding from stuff that went there. There's like a statue of him there. Like it's kind of like a big thing there, I think. But,
yeah, and then this goes back to like Devon because he has to break it off with Britt now, and Britt kind of bells him out, which I thought was kind of classy because she could kind of read the room and see like this guy isn't for me. But he said he sees himself not like proposing. He says he actually does see himself proposing. He just didn't know which one, and I thought that was like an odd comment he made too. Like he's already predetermined that he's going to propose.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's a weird situation when these guys when anyone falls for two people,
exactly.
and then they break it off, and 24 hours later they're engaged to the other. It's like you were literally like torn, potentially choosing this person as your life partner, and then you're like, nah, it's this person, and then you're just supposed to forget that person and that relationship and connection.
No, it's tough,
like
right?
that.
And especially when you know by now,
that's the deal.
By now they've all seen these episodes. They know in like a matter of weeks they're gonna meet those other people, right? They're all gonna have their get together to see him again. So it's gonna be awkward.
And then he meets with Virginia, and she kind of makes it easy because I think she gives him like her grandmother's ring. So that's like the go ahead if I've ever seen one, right? So
exactly.
That's the ring you're gonna give me.
But
in like a day or two, you're gonna propose, and that's the one you're gonna put on my finger.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I like that. I thought it was very sentimental. It was very cool.
What do you think about Dave's throbbing testicle and with one girl and a throbbing heart with another?
Hey,
I can't like my right.
He was throbbing all over the place.
He's like, I don't know if I got like a medical problem or what. My right testicle's problem. It's throbbing right now.
You can't use the same line on everyone, I guess. So you got to switch it up every now and then.
Testicle and heart. I was sitting there, and as an ultrasound tech, I'm like, yeah, you should go get that checked out. That is not something you want to sit on.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and speaking of Dave, he's like crying because he's torn about like who he's going for, which I also thought was odd. And then Molly's kind of not even really buying into it. She's like, boo-hoo, you got two women vying for you, and that's how you're sad. So she's like, make a decision. Yeah. And then he kind of tells her, but she kind of breaks up with herself. It's very awkward. You know what I mean? Well, he thinks he's being clear, but he's really not.
Well, she's like, are you trying to get me to break up with you here? And he was like, no, that's not what I'm doing.
He's like, I've actually already broken up with you.
Right,
you just don't seem to be understanding.
Yeah,
that.
even though she's right.
She's just waiting for him to say like, I'm choosing her, but like he beats around the bush if you ask
me.
Yeah.
No, he did. He totally did.
She wanted more direct.
Yeah, and he should have been more direct about it.
Yeah, so he keeps waffling, and Molly has to land the plane for him, essentially, and be like, okay, well, this is what I'm getting from this conversation.
But just so you know, you're breaking up with me. I'm just doing it for you. Yeah. I'm not breaking up with you.
And he's a little distraught that Molly isn't even more broken up about it. Like,
right.
And I'm like,
is that what you wanted? He's like, you're being really cool about this.
Well,
it's like, what the hell do you want from me?
And he even has that conversation later with Lauren, right? And Lauren's like, well, actually, she came back. She was pretty upset.
Yeah, she
when
does
she
take
it back.
Fairly hard when she gets back to the girls' room or whatever.
Yeah. She's able to keep it to herself until she,
she handled it well there in the situation.
I actually like Molly, and I was rooting for her to land someone. I don't know if I trust Dave. Like, I think something's going to come in the future that's going to show him in a bad light. Because, I mean, he starts off bad, and I just don't know if I trust that guy.
Yeah.
And Lauren is like, she's like, once that happens, Lauren kind of like gets over things, but she's questioning a lot of things, whether she's being played, but that kind of gets dismissed when Molly goes to the wayside. So
yeah. What did you think about their meeting? Like, do you think she was impressed with him and he was impressed with her?
I thought all the meetings, for the most part, went fairly well.
So now here's
except for the last one.
Right. Well, here's the one meeting too that I noticed. Out of all the meetings,
Taylor one,
out of all the meetings, afterward they always show each person in front of the camera talking about the meeting, like, oh, he was so cute, oh, she was awesome. The Devon and what's Devon's girl? Virginia. The Devon and Virginia one didn't do that. I was like, why the hell didn't Devon and Virginia one do that? Where they had them each talking to the camera, saying how great each other's was and all that.
I think it was.
They didn't do it for those two.
I think it was their engagement too with the editing. It's like, she said yes, and he's like, oh, we're engaged. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Like there was also not like an excitement.
Right.
Like talk. It almost, at least with the editing, it was like they got engaged and then they left the pod.
Yeah, and it was just weird. Like,
so
I don't
they're
know
either leaving something out of that editing. Well, they have to be, because there had to be more conversation that happened there. Sure. But why are they leaving that out? Was it just not entertaining for us to watch, or is there something there that they're gonna throw at us later?
Yeah, I don't know. But Ben and Sarah are the second couple to get engaged.
Yeah.
Which ones are Ben and Sarah?
Then-
They're the
Yeah.
The political,
unequally yoked
the
couple.
political.
That's what I'm going to call them from now on.
And when they met, they didn't bring obviously any of that up, and everything went kind of great.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both very excited to see each other, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
she's very excited about all this, but
You see in the preview.
you got to have those hard conversations, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, no, you do. No
You
doubt about
see
it.
in the preview, like when they're with her family or his family, there's something that's said there that's off.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell it was his family, or her family,
Yeah.
but like the parents did not seem happy at all, and I was
Right.
like, yeah.
I think it was like something. He says he goes to religion once a week and
Church
they're
once a
having-
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
church,
Says
and
he goes
then
to church every week.
there
Yeah.
was something about that.
Yeah.
So.
So, and I don't know if that was her parents or if it was his. I think it might have been her parents. But
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah, and then Devon brings up some stuff about his sister every now and then, like how she's gonna feel about the whole situation.
Yeah, he's like, she's
so.
the one you're gonna have to sell it to, right? So,
And I'm like, what? Why is that?
and the sister who is still younger, his older sister who's younger than Virginia.
So he must think pretty highly of her and her opinion or something like that.
Yeah, evidently
So,
does.
Yeah. And then Mason, this is where like Mason got Madison the cream pie and she breaks it off with him. She's not impressed with the cream pie and the breakfast. That looked good too.
breakfast.
I was like, God
Dude,
dang, man, you
yeah,
bring out that food and not eat
a
it.
lot of the food in the show was amazing. I was like, damn.
Notice though, when they left the pods, neither one of them left the food behind.
No, it took a little.
They're like,
Well, Mason
this food's coming
well,
with
Mason's like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat this breakfast, but then he picked it up and took it with him. So,
And I'm like, is he going to eat those pancakes? They look
right,
pretty
let me
good.
pass them over here, bro.
But yeah, let's get back into this a little bit because after this, you think, hey, things are going to go good between Alex and Madison at this point. But Alex is defending
Mason,
Mason, and Madison
Well-
don't really like that.
No, and here's the thing. If anybody knows Mason better, it's Alex because he's spending more time with him, right? He's spending
Yeah.
the time in the men's section with Mason. He's getting to know him, and he thinks that Mason's a genuinely good dude, and he's trying to explain this to her, and she's like, I don't want to hear that shit.
Well, Mason did one wrong thing
Right.
in their conversations. He committed, then he made the comment of taking it back, and I think that was a little bit of saving face on his part.
Yeah, exactly.
And trying to like save
So
his
you don't believe it?
relationship. I think he truly meant it when he said it.
I think he did. as
Yeah,
well.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I think when by him saying I shouldn't have said that, I think he realized that he was not her number one, and that he was going down the wrong path, and that he needed to go towards Meg. So now he's got to try to backtrack that somehow.
Exactly.
Well, and I think
But she just held that over his head and would not get
I
past
think
it.
she
he
would. And then-
actually
and then she
said,
ran off to Meg with
I'm
it, so-
committing to you. And then she had that thing with Alex where she kind of committed to him, which I thought was kind of
But then she didn't tell Mason about it, right? So it's like, so the same shit she's accusing him for, she did in the
You
reverse
keep
thing. So
saying
because it is,
You
man.
truly
like,
feel this way
I truly
about
feel
this.
that way.
Well, she says kind of like, you had too many good things going at once, and that came back to kind of bite you in the
Yeah.
butt.
And it's like, but you got too many good
Yeah.
things going. So again, I don't like that she was pulling that crap.
She
I don't.
acted like he was stringing them both along to.
Yeah, and she's like, maybe you lost both of us.
Right.
I do truly think that he had a genuine connection and was truly torn between
Oh,
the
he
two
was.
of
No
them.
doubt about
I don't
it.
think he
Yeah,
was
I
just
absolutely
doing it.
think so.
Whereas I think she was stringing him along
Right.
for that. I think she had never intended to choose
Exactly.
him. She was always going to choose Alex.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
is very interesting that Alex is the one that comforts him after that conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because Alex is just a good dude, man. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, bro.
I mean, all the guys are cool. Joey's even like tapping people on the back when they're having a hard day and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
like Devon, like all those guys, man. They're all just they all seem like genuine good people for the most
It
part.
was a good bro pod.
Yeah,
And
it
then-
was. It was definitely a good bro pod. Sure.
Mason meets with Meg and he's trying to do damage control. But this kind of surprised me too because I guess it's too little too late.
Yeah.
Well, and because of course, freaking right then, Madison ran back to Meg and told her everything that was going on, and but of course she had her spin on it, So
Well,
it's
then
like.
she's like, but you take,
But
don't let me influence you.
You make what the decision you want to make, right? So it's like obviously you're trying to influence, right? Or you wouldn't have done this to begin with. So that was a dirty move for her.
I
to
do
anyway.
like Virginia's
So-
advice in this point because Meg kind of made the comment. She's like, maybe it's my ego, knowing that
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah.
second choice, and Virginia was like,
Yep.
you gotta leave your ego at the door here.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That was good
again,
advice.
that would have been a great point, or to bring up the Zach and Bliss example, because
Yeah, no doubt.
again, that really worked out for them.
But Meg just can't really get past the point. Like she doesn't know if
She was
she was
actually
number
number
2
one.
or did he choose me or am I just like a consolation prize?
Yeah, but I mean, and again, it's like I said about Meg earlier. Good for her for having that confidence in herself and knowing what she wants and knowing what she's willing to accept and not accept. So
And I think she was number 2.
yeah, I think.
I think so too. But like he doesn't really fight too hard in this. He
No, he
kind of
could've
just goes with it and be like, yeah, I understand. Like it sucks. Like maybe we can be friends. But he's never like fighting for her.
No, he could have fought a lot harder and maybe talked her into staying, but he didn't. So
I mean, he could have said like, I'm gonna give you the good part of the food or whatever.
The ice cream.
Like that. She was so
good
enthralled
bite of
with,
the ice cream.
Yeah. But he doesn't. So.
Yeah,
It'll work out. Well, for now, you never know.
He's never going to get in that fort.
No.
You know?
And then of course at the very end, we had the Daniel and Taylor reveal, and then Taylor's like, that cat was stalking me on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. Like, I'm just not sure if it's.
I need more information.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We were so quick to come record this, after binge watching these episodes, but I do need to go down that rabbit hole.
But here's the thing. Let's say he did follow her, unfollow her. Is that bad enough?
I just don't know. It depends. Like, if he knew she was going to be on the show.
I mean, if he's lying about it, that's not good.
Right,
but
exactly.
If he knew she was going to be on the show and was like, this kind of reminds me, was it Uche and what's her name from Houston? Like,
Raven?
Yeah.
Was Raven?
No, that was Dallas.
That's right.
But like that, his ex was on the show or whatever. So if he knew she was going to be on the show and he got on the show and knew when he heard her name, like that was her, and that's how he was getting into this relationship with her, that's creepy. That's stalkerish. There's all sorts of red flags there. If he'd seen her on Instagram, tried to follow her, didn't follow her, or she didn't accept the follower or whatever, and it could have just been coincidental. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Her big concern is she's like, look, I've got a lot of crap about myself on Instagram. Like, I got my favorite food on there, Taco Bell. I've got that I'm really big
Taco Bell, your favorite food?
Yeah. She's like, I've got that
I don't think that he brought those
things up. Is he going to get a Chick-fil-A tattoo?
Because she brought up Taco Bell in the pod. She's like, oh, I love Taco Bell too. And she's like, are you a family guy? Oh, I love family. I'm super big into family. So she's like, all this was on
Christmas,
my Instagram. Yeah, the Christmas.
But
she's like, so is he using that?
She brought the topics up and he agreed. If he just wants to be close to her and be a yes man, he could have said those things without stalking her on Instagram.
He didn't bring up Taco Bell.
I
think he did bring up kind of Christmas with the photograph.
But he's a Christmas guy himself.
Yeah.
I mean, allegedly he has all these Christmas.
What I will say,
I just don't see that part.
What I will say on the previews, they did not show them two at all. So I'm assuming she's ending it here. So.
Well,
they didn't.
Or they're just not going to show.
Yeah, or maybe they're trying to keep us wondering.
Yeah,
maybe so.
What would you like to see from these two?
Honestly, at this point, I think she's too much in her head about it and too unsure about it to where it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah,
right?
well, she should have gone to the honeymoon and then questioned him then if she was going to do that, I think. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if she truly thinks he's stalking her, then no, I wouldn't want to go on that honeymoon either.
Is that stalking, though? If someone's just like, hey, this girl's cute, let me see this. Oh, I mean, on Instagram, you're the one posting all this crap.
She made the comment that he tried to follow her. She kind of looked at his profile, didn't really know who he was, but did see that they had people in common.
Yes, they had friends
in
common.
So if anyone knew that she was going on the show and he somehow got on the show, knew she was going to be on the show, and used that to his advantage in the pods, knowing who he was going to get with, that's stalkerish and it's creepy.
No, absolutely. Totally.
So if that's what she's saying and that's really how it played out, then that's
and then that kind of is what she's saying, right? That kind of is what she's kind of saying, like could be. So,
but he's denying it, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's some discrepancy of like the image that she has in her head versus what
he's not buying Christmas tree.
Well, I didn't have a glass in my hand, but I did have pictures in front of the fireplace.
Well, I'm kind of what makes me question it is he's not like outraged by the accusation.
No, he's not.
Right.
No. Which and the way he's playing it off, the way he's like,
yeah, he's thinking about it. Do I actually have that? He'd be like, he should just be like, it doesn't matter. I didn't follow you. And this, that. But he's like. I actually never had a drink in my hand.
Right, yeah. So
he does not come out and deny it, which does make me think she might be onto something.
Exactly. Yeah, I think she's totally onto something because, again, he doesn't
that is creepy if that's what he did. If he knew she was going to be on the show, somehow got on the show himself, that means that when he's in the pods, he's listening for that name, he's connecting with that person, and he's driving that relationship, but he already knows who she is.
I think it's romantic.
It's like the police. Every step you take, right?
It's like Groundhog Day. He's like trying to figure things out.
Has anyone ever issued you a restraining order?
That just means I really want to be with you. So, But, Alex
man.
and Madison, this kind of caught me off guard because after all that stuff, like, they break it off, and I was kind of shocked by that, honestly. And the reason...
Yeah.
It's like a communication thing where she feels like she's not being validated. He's like, I'm understanding of a lot of different views. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like
There's
something they can't get over.
No,
There's something else about her.
There's stuff that we didn't
Yeah.
see, right? That Eddie didn't show us, where he's got some doubts about her, and I think he made the right choice.
Do you think he's just nervous going on the show and doesn't want that attention? Maybe it's too much. He's nervous. He's like, I can't go on the show, so I'm going to call it off.
I think he's got some legitimate doubts about her and about the way everything went down with Mason and all that stuff. And I think he's like, look, I'm not.
What's not to like?
I already
That's
said
what he's saying about Mason. I think he was rooting for her
Exactly.
and Mason.
He sounds like he wants to date Mason or something, the way he's defending him.
Yeah, Mason's
Yeah, I don't
nice.
know, man.
Yeah, I just find this odd, and I think Madison's
find
kind
this
of Madison's kind of cool, and I just don't think this is that big of a deal.
I don't think she's
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
I
she's
thought
cool.
she was hot, and I thought at first I was
She's
like,
hot.
yeah, I'm digging some Madison, but after the way the shit went down, I was like, nah, man,
I
she's
thought
crazy.
she was hot. I liked her voice. I liked how she said the right things. Like, she came across so self-aware and that she had grown from her trauma and this whatever. But then when I really played it all back and pulled it all together, it was so manipulative. I can't say
a lot
the
of it was
word.
manipulative, yeah.
Manipulative to everyone involved. Like Meg.
Oh yeah,
Like everyone involved.
yeah. The way
Me
she
watching it, I
the
felt
way she
manipulated.
drugged Meg into it, and the way she was talking to Meg was
Yeah.
totally manipulative. And I was just like, that ain't even cool.
I did
man.
not like how
She got you.
That's right.
I did not really like how she reacted to the Mason thing after the fact. Like, you're getting ready, like you're strongly involved with this guy, and now you're kind of crapping on him. Even though I see where she's kind of going a little bit with it, because he is lying to a certain extent. Like
Yeah. I
he
think he's lying to
was
himself,
going
too.
toward Madison.
He was,
Okay,
yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. I wonder if
But
this
again,
would come
like
up in the
Ashley,
reunion.
but again, like Ashley said, Madison was stringing him along. I mean, she was totally stringing him along. So
Yeah.
it was just bad, man. Like Madison is not, nah.
All right, so you guys think Madison is the villain this season?
Yes.
I think she is a villain.
More
for
than
sure.
Dave, perhaps.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Dave, I'm still on the fence about. Like,
More than Daniel, perhaps. That the
Well,
jury's still out
well,
on
we'll
that
see
one,
how
but
that plays out. Yeah, but
if it played out the
Then-
way she's accusing it of playing out, then he is
then-
definitely
then
the true villain.
Then he is a freaking creepy dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but he could just be. He seemed like the innocent Christmas guy, but you know me, I'm gullible. So
interesting.
But we'll see.
So, what of these couples you like the most?
So I do I like Virginia and Devon, I think, but I'm just not sure it's gonna last. We'll see, but
Yeah.
I do like them.
And
I
they
mean-
tease us by showing, Brick coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? He takes her outside to talk to her alone, right?
yeah.
And Virginia
And
looks kind
Virginia's
of
like, oh, what's
uh-huh.
happening over there?
Yeah, which
Is that misdirection? Who knows?
I mean, that happens every season,
Yeah.
right? We see,
Yeah.
editing likes to show that shit every season in the
didn't
previews, and a
he
lot of times
say-
it turns out to be nothing.
He even
So-
says, like in the little preview, I think I made a mistake, or I made a mistake. Or
He's
something
like, I fucked up, but it's like,
Yeah.
what is he talking
What?
about?
Exactly.
It's like, he's like, yeah, I fucked up, but yeah, but what'd you fuck up about, right? So, yeah, so it's just like, yeah, a lot of that crap just editing shows us turns out to be nothing, right? So,
Yeah.
I liked freaking Joey and Monica, but at the same time, again, I think that's going to just turn out to be more of a friend thing. I don't see them lasting too
Agreed.
long.
I think they have the same energy, but for some reason, and I don't know why, they're like the same person, but she comes across slightly more mature, and I think
Yeah, a little
his
bit, I think.
immaturity is going to be a problem for her.
With Joey and Monica?
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
but he is a good dude, man.
I think
seems
he
like a
is too, but
sweetheart,
I
man,
think
good guy.
that's just kind of how it comes across. I don't know.
I think he's more
More to come.
carefree and she's not. So I think little things could potentially add up there. But
Yeah, Dave and Laura, I'm not sure about. I mean, we'll see
Dave
Lauren,
and
but-
Lauren, like, they said, like, we haven't even discussed where we're living and stuff
Right.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Like,
And
why
he-
wouldn't you even have a conversation
And he
about
was
it?
like, in that moment, he was like, and rightfully so. We shouldn't be there at this point. Like, you're gonna go down the altar, like, and get
Right, in
married
4
in
weeks.
4
Yeah.
weeks. You don't think you should be there?
We'll
in
have that conversation at some point. Well, what if it doesn't work out, really?
Yeah.
Because I'm set on living here, you're set on living there.
Right, exactly.
mean,
And we
It's a
kind of saw
fluid
that with the
concept.
UK thing a little bit. So, and that
Yeah,
couple
that's right,
was
we
the
did.
strongest one, and
Oh,
they
dude,
didn't have that crap settled.
Everybody thought that couple was like gold, right? And I
Yeah.
was like,
They
damn,
couldn't
well,
even
that
be in
turned
the
out-
same room with each other after
Yeah,
that.
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there seems to be a lot of drama coming.
Yeah. Again, editing.
Well,
always
hopefully
shows
it's
that,
a
so-
little more entertaining than these pod episodes. You
That's
know?
right.
Maybe they didn't pump him full of alcohol like they normally did because of like prior
Well, I
concerns
don't know,
or something.
and Taylor was wanting that alcohol.
Yeah, she
right?
was.
Yeah.
Well,
He was like, should we get some champagne? She's like, is it sky blue? And then he's like, what do you mean is it sky blue? It's like, dude.
well,
that's
makes
it's like
me
doing
wonder
it
too,
was doing
'cause
right over his head.
I don't think she was that into him. So
No, I
I
don't
do
think she
wonder
was either.
if she's like
She
like
does
maybe
make
that
a
did
comment, though.
happen, and maybe she was okay with it until she saw him and was like, nah, I can't.
She makes the comment though, other than the height, that he is her type.
Yeah, she did say that, but then
So
she
I don't
said
see
that
why
at
she wouldn't be
first.
attracted.
What does that
to him.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, right, exactly.
brown hair, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
A dude. I don't know.
because he I think is the one that said he was bullied and all this kind of stuff. So
No, that was Alex.
That
oh, was
Alex.
it? Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get those two, Ben and Alex,
Yeah,
confused quite
Alex
a bit on
said
this.
he was like the big nerd with all the acne, he got
Okay.
bullied all the time, all
Mm-hmm.
that shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
And then he turns down Madison. What a
That's
catch!
right.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe I don't know.
He's like, I'm the catch.
but again, man, but again, that's emotional maturity that he's got there,
Yeah.
you know. And that kid knows, like, you know, he just feels something's off, and he knows what he wants, he knows what he's looking for, and
Yeah.
and
Well,
she just didn't quite have it, right?
And
So-
some of these people I feel like are on it for the TV show, and some people are treating it like a real engagement, maybe.
Right.
You
Did
know?
you
And
get
I
the
get
vibe
feeling
from-
that maybe he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be married to you because we just need. There's a lot of things we need to work out before
Right.
we get
Yeah.
And that's exactly
Well,
what
no,
he was
he
saying.
did say
That's what
we're
he was
just not
saying.
there yet.
Yeah, that's exactly
You
what he
know?
said.
Do you get the vibe from any one of them that they're
there. Well, Devon,
literally there
because
just to be on the
because
show?
Devon says I'm getting married one way or another, or engaged one way or another. So
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, like, shouldn't you have a connection? Like, you're putting the cart before the horse here, in my mind.
Well, I think he already had the two
but he
connections.
had
though.
such a strong connection with both of them that he was
Such
like,
a
look,
strong that he,
Yeah.
what someone says one thing and he dismisses them.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, dude,
It was a big deal.
some people have their breaks, man, and that's his. He was like, no, I can't deal with that, you know. So
But every time we're
then-
together, I'm going
then
to
you're
picture
not
you
that
with a woman.
strong.
I
You're not
can't
that
do it.
strong of a
But
couple.
prior to
That's
that-
the whole point. Like, you're gonna come across things in marriage that you got to get over.
Well, dude, you're talking 10 days in a freaking pod, though. How strong are any of these people really?
you're gonna
at
get
10 days in a
engaged.
pod?
You're gonna get
You know,
engaged.
so I mean, you know, that's an argument to be made for any of them. So
Bisexualness, come on. And if they're willing to
something
commit to
you
you,
need
does
to.
that matter? I don't know. According to him,
it mattered to him, and that's all that matters, right?
that's true.
So that's all that matters. It mattered to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean,
Do you think if he didn't have the connection
and
with
then when he
Virginia,
sees her, maybe it's different. I don't know.
do you think if he didn't have the connection with Virginia and he didn't have another option, that maybe he would have tried to work through that a little bit more?
I don't think so.
I do. I do.
That was a deal
I
breaker
don't
from the
think
time he heard it.
Yeah, I think it was a deal breaker from the time I heard
But
it.
I don't know if that's unfair. Like, you know, that's what like promotes him to think more through it. Then that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you know, everybody's got their beliefs and you know whatever. And for him, that was just a deal breaker, and she understood. She's like, you know, hey, I get it. So I mean, those two are. I mean, like I said, they're both seem like they're just honest, genuine, just awesome people. Like Brittany was very cool, you know, and you know, and they were both like, hey, we can still be friends after this. So I thought it was very cool the way they did it. So
I don't want to be friends with you after this. You know.
Well, you don't think men and women can be friends.
That's right. They can't.
there you go. Yeah.
Especially if there's ever been a relationship in there before.
So, but I tell you what, the pods were not as exciting as I think previous episodes. But I am looking forward to the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the honeymoon phase to see how that goes, and you know, and again, we got to see all the drama in the previews for it, but again, you know, we know how editing tries to trick us and that shit, so we'll see what happens. But,
Well, if history is any indication, there's gonna be a lot of drama,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
and especially because, like, you know, they did all this behind the curtain, and now they see each other, and like, looks do matter, you know, as we've seen
they
on,
do, of
on other
course.
shows, and
Right.
and some people are like, you're not what I was thinking you were, so.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
But, you know, this show is pretty successful compared to a lot of other shows. About 50-50, if you ask me, once they get to the
that's true.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had several couples now who've had kids. You know, the marriage has lasted a long time. You know, so yeah, I mean, it has been a relatively successful show, I think. So
Yeah,
when
for
it comes
sure.
to dating shows, dating reality shows in itself isn't the best way to meet your partner, I think. So if,
well, the thing is, I mean,
when you're comparing all of them together, then yeah, it's probably a
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
good
because you're
one.
putting all your dirty laundry out there for the whole world to see, right? So it's risky. Because then what happens if like you just make a complete ass yourself, like we've seen before, and then it's like, well, now the whole world's just seen you're the freaking douchebag. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and some people are using this to springboard onto other things, as we've
Oh, yeah.
seen. So,
Yeah, of course.
you know, they end up on the perfect match or whatever.
Or they end up with their own podcasts, you know. So
Yeah, maybe Madison's going to do that. I don't know. Do you see any examples of that going on?
of what?
Like trying to parlay their
Yeah, well,
experience on the show into something else.
Deepty and the other girl.
No,
out
I'm
there
saying this
probably-
season though.
This season, I can see Madison
maybe.
doing something.
Yeah, I could definitely see Madison doing that. But most people this season so far seem like they're there for the right reason, right? Like I think I didn't see too many that just seemed like they were trying to showboat and just make themselves up to be this freaking awesome superstar that I'm here for the camera and make myself famous. I didn't see a lot of that this season,
No.
like we've seen in other seasons, right? So
I could see like people going on Perfect Match or like one of those other shows though, just to be like, hey, it didn't work on this one.
Right.
You're gonna use.
Yeah.
I'll try another one. I can see Mason doing it maybe.
yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I think Mason has a shot, like at some of these meetups, to like sue things over. So.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
We're rooting for you,
I think he
Mason.
might.
But,
We
but
hope he
I don't
finds
know.
somebody.
Like, is he really into Meg? I'm not sure. So
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I don't know. When they all meet up, but hey, this has been awesome, guys. We were live today. Thanks everybody for who turned in. Hey, Janelle, Chocolate Sooner, everybody who made comments. We appreciate it. We love you guys, and hit that like and subscribe, and we will check you guys reviewing this next week.
see you guys.
See ya.